Great. So we can move. We got another demo where we'll look a little bit at a different kind of connector to Salesforce and to Amp Impact, but we'll take another look at skills and Claude connectors in context here. So with this example, we're gonna look at really kind of how skills and connectors come together to create to create even more power. So we saw with the status example just now some standard connectors and putting those into practice. You can also set up custom connectors. So we've got another project here, the Catalyst Aid MCP demo. So we're going to connect. We're going to click into this project, and this project has been set up with a custom connector that's pointing to Salesforce and specifically a system with Amp Impact on it and the Amp Impact Grants plugin. So we're able to bring in real-time impact intelligence and grant management intelligence as well. So it's able to look at the grant pipeline, it's able to look at financials, it's able to look at impact data, and you can see everything that's kind of set up with this connector. So it's actually got 17 tools that are set up just once, and then everybody who has Claude in the organization is able to make use of these tools that we've set up with this connector. From the connector, we can also set up a skill and help teach Claude how do you interpret the data. So this is where the power starts to come in, is how do we make sense of the data that's in Amp Impact? We can train it up on, what do all the different kinds of data mean? What are the key fields to be looking at for for this kind of intelligence or that kind of intelligence? So here we can see it kind of all the logic in these skills. It tells it, use this skill when a user asks questions like these or those or these or those. And then it gives Claude an overview of the data model. It gives Claude insight into, the kinds of analysis that users might want to be running. So we put a lot of time and thought into, this. You can think of this as kind of V1 of this MCP for Amp Impact. So let's ask a question now of this. We're chatting with Claude, but we're pulling data from Salesforce by asking it for a portfolio health overview. So now Claude is going to think about that. It's going to go look into the data. It's going to check. It says, okay, I need to use my Amp Impact skill for this to give guidance on what to do. So it's loading that up. It's loading the tools to get the connector, firing that up to go connect to the portfolio data from Amp Impact. And then boom, it's going to be able to start running some analysis for us and updating us on KPIs. So we don't have to go looking into Salesforce even. We don't have to go setting up new reports or dashboards. We're able to get that intelligence right here within Claude. We could also bring it together with, as we saw with the Status demo, other tools or other sources. So we can look at how much funding is being dispersed. We can look at how that's broken down by the different stages. We can look at our funding by country, across our grantees, so on and so forth. So it's a grant management example, but this would equally work if you were an implementer wanting to explore the data. If we dig into the financial side, again, this is also data coming from Amp Impact, but maybe you've got an ERP system that you want to pull financial data from. You could have the same conversation talking to multiple tools. In this case, it's pulling Amp Impact disbursement data, expenditure data, so we can look at what's been spent, what's been dispersed, and then we can also look at kind of real-time expenditure that's been reported back to the funder based on spend in the grants. How much budget's being utilized and so forth. So then we can also drill down on the data, right? So we don't have to, again, go through a complicated dashboard or train people up on that. We could just using natural language, we could ask questions like, drill down on this country, on Kenya, or drill down on this theme or this outcome area. And then Claude will do the appropriate analysis there, kind of update the queries to just filter it to Kenya. So it's a really interesting sort of new age of business intelligence here, I think, where we bring AI and BI together to get this kind of insight. We saw with a CEDIS example how skills can also be used to produce assets or artifacts. And again, we can use skills not just for telling Claude what data to look at, how to interpret the data, what kind of analysis to run, but you can also train it up on your style guide and like what does a donor report look like for you? What does a board deck look like for your organization? These are things that you can train Claude up on once and then be able to use over and over time.